As a certified African king myself, I have plenty of experience with racism. Not having any of it hurled at me, of course, but I did live within the remnants of a system that was meant to benefit me the most as a white South African. But then a bunch of selfish people who wanted freedom had to ruin it for everybody. I mean, come on guys, they already did a racism. Can I at least enjoy it a little? Semi-related note, my dad was a copper during apartheid, literally. And he proper pisses me off, not because he participated in that system, he had no choice, but he always took such pride in not being a corrupt police officer. I never took a bribe once, you know, Dino. But you could have. I mean, they were already doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to feel bad about it, but at least I'll feel bad about it on a private yacht, probably. I'll give some money to some people. Life's not fair. Point being, as a very clearly racially sensitive human being, who's from a direct lineage of incredibly racially sensitive human beings, coupled with the fact that I am in fact a certified African king, I know I said it twice, but it tastes so nice, I'm hyper aware of the issues plaguing the modern minority, and I'm especially conscientious to the plight of minorities in foreign countries. Which leads us into the motherland of alcoholism and the subject of today's story, the beautiful nation of Russia. Now, I'm sure you're a very well-traveled and learned individual, and have certainly been dancing in Moscow within recent months, but if you are a belligerent, uncultured swine, I can tell you Russia is known for three things. One being the alcoholism that I already mentioned, two being an authoritarian state, and three being not so chill when it comes to black people, or brown people, or yellow people, or slightly less whiter people than themselves. If your skin tone doesn't align with 100% Russo-Russian white, let's just say some not chill things will happen to you over there. Especially if you're in the professional sporting field. Italian ultras blush and lift their skirts at the sight of a Russian hooligan. An I might shout a racial slur. A Russian hooligan will just straight up commit a hate crime right there on the field for a missed spot kick. Although don't feel too bad, Mother Russia. You're far from being the only trash. Pretty much the entire Eastern European bloc is. However, all of that said, there are plenty of people from the Great Eastern Province that are more stereotypically woke, meaning they say slightly few less N-words than their counterparts when referring to that time one black guy visited their village 10 years ago. Some of them would even go so far to appreciate different cultures outside of their own. And in fact, some of them are even willing to celebrate those cultures on their skin in a permanent basis. Say hello to Nikolai Sudvensky, a tattoo artist who's based in Russia but is also Italian and German if his Instagram bio is to be believed. His art style as a tattooist is what I would describe as bobblehead pop art, mostly heavily focused on black and white tones, with occasional splashes of red to pop out color. I'm not exactly sure on the strict definition of what this art style is called, but to me it looks like the art style of a 12th grader who still draws the dollar sign and never quite grew out of their obsession with white hip-hop. No, you don't understand. Eminem is simply the greatest rapper of all time. He doesn't even say the N-word in his raps. I'm sorry dude, there's probably a couple of you guys with this exact style of art on your arm, and I'm not one to talk. I got this done when I was 16, so I'm not exactly a high-class whore myself. But this type of style screams Love Island with the misses. It is yelling from the high heavens, hyper-realistic lion on the hand. You are by law, and I mean by law, only allowed to have two types of jobs if you have something similar to this on your arm and or leg. One, you work for your dad's company, but you call it your own company when you're trying to impress girls. And or two, you're a working class lad who's a bricklayer that claims to make £2 million per brick they put down. There is no in-between. Whether or not you like Mr. Nikolai's visual style is irrelevant. There's one thing that I'm sure we can all collectively agree on. He is heavily inspired by American hip-hop, and more specifically Brooklyn graffiti and that whole subgenre. So it should come as no surprise that he is clearly somewhat of a hip-hop head himself. Both perfectly fine things when kept separated. But it was Nikolai combining his two loves into one artful masterpiece that drew the attention of some.
Сумасшедший, он сошедший с ума. Просто попса, тебе нет куда сойти. Да, мы тут пиарим альбом.
What you would just witness to was Nikolai's interpretation and his artistic expression of hip-hop evolution. Now, clearly there's a couple of visual issues as well as associations. Nikolai was very clearly to me trying to express evolution turning into eventual creativity and then eventually turning into hip-hop, with man ultimately being on top of the food chain. However, quite clearly so, this could be interpreted as a black person evolving from an ape. A very common stereotype employed by less than nice people. Now, I want to say this as loud and proud as I can. There is absolutely no way Nikolai meant this to be offensive or rude. This is very clearly a dumb person doing a dumb person thing and making an oopsie racism, like we're all guilty of. An example I know firsthand was up until last year I kept using the expression, "it's raining like a monkey's wedding," until all of a sudden it dawned on me that that's probably racist, right? And sure enough, I looked it up and it's an old Afrikaner saying when referring to native South Africans getting married. This takes it a step further, but again, I gotta emphasize this, it doesn't feel like it was intended to be disrespectful or rude. I genuinely think that this was an art piece designed with celebrating Black American hip-hop culture in mind. This very, very much feels like the Italian blackface boy that I covered a couple months ago. Link will be popping up right now. Where after Napoli won the Series A title for the first time in many years, to show their appreciation and support, many of the local children, and specifically this child on video, dressed up like their hero and their star, a Mr. Victor Osimhen. I feel like the picture speaks for itself. Again, that was also not racism, because to me that wasn't from a malicious place, that was again in celebration. Just done in an extremely iffy way. An extremely funny way, too. Now, Nikolai, upon hearing some criticism of his work, was more than happy to defend his piece, saying either in a TikTok or Instagram comment, I'm not exactly sure, the following statement. Art should not invoke ambiguous emotions. Incorrect, that's literally what it's supposed to do. As we are all different. I think he meant to say art should invoke ambiguous emotions, but whatever. In my opinion, this tattoo is a tribute to the African Americans who created and developed the culture. Like I said, there is a problem with racism in your countries, that's why you see racism in everything. In our country, African Americans are the same people, just different color of skin. And those people are below us in every way. I don't think Darwin didn't divide this theory into race. I try to see things across the globe and pose political views. In my opinion, Darwin's theory, it's amazing that we started in the wild and that has led to art admired by millions. Yeah, exactly what I said. The tattoo depicts a rapper as I'm in the industry. Yes, dude. Russian rap. That is gonna sound like straight ass. But it could have depicted anyone, such as a doctor, artist, engineer, etc. I wish everyone peace without dividing into black and white. And I wish peace upon you, Nikolai, and a long and happy life. Just like how I wish you a long and happy life by legally subscribing to Dino. And to summarize this all, I think this was very much a case of the intention and message was good, the execution was terrible. Especially on a white dude's arm. That's just salt to injury, bro. I'll leave you with some of Nikolai's rapping work if I can find some. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.